Today we have come to discuss verses 1 to 20. I just want to read a few verses for all of us as we look at this particular parable. And Jesus starts to tell this parable, and then he starts with verse 3. I am reading Mark chapter 4, verse 3. A farmer went out to sow his seed. A farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. And some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came quickly, because the soil was shallow, but when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants, so that they did not bear grain. Still, other seed fell on good soil. It came up and grew and produced a crop, some multiplying 30, some 60, and some 100 times. And this parable, though we very popularly call it the parable of sower, it could be the parable of sower, or the parable of the seed, even parable of the soil. But if you actually look at the one who is sowing the seed, who is this sower? And he doesn't seem to have a focus. He lets the seed to fall everywhere randomly. Who is this? And you will question the efficiency of this sower. What's wrong with the sower? So inaccurate with his seed, and he's letting it fall, not the prepared soil, but everywhere else. What kind of farmer is he? Will you employ such a person? And he seemed to be quite wasteful with his seed, throwing on the rock, throwing in the thorns, throwing on the footpath, spreading or scattering the seed indiscriminately. But it must have startled his Jesus listeners initially. But if you actually stop and look at, that's what God does. He gives the seed everywhere, irrespective of the condition of the soil. He goes and sows in a soil that's not prepared, that's hard, and is full of thorns. He doesn't spare anyone. That's the good news of this sower, and that's the good news of God, and that's the good news of Jesus and the gospel of Jesus Christ.